This is the Stormy Willow Podcast, a lighthearted, balanced examination of the paranormal. It's bow time, y'all. Welcome to the Stormy Willow Podcast. I'm your host, Adele.
And I'm your biscuit-loving co-host, Sarah. And speaking of biscuits, I mean, there's nothing like a Bojangles biscuit, am I right?
That's for damn sure. It's getting like nice and cool out. Makes me want to curl up with a butter biscuit.
I love it. Curl up with a butter biscuit. Bojangles, we really, really want you to sponsor us if you can't tell.
Or at least cater something that we do.
Yeah, something. That'd be great.
We're negotiable.
Yeah, we definitely are. Well, hello, Brood. Hello, Adele. We're recording on a weeknight, which is weird. I just got back from a run, so you get to see this beautiful, sweaty face. Adele got off of her day job, like literally, and then switched gears. So we might sound a little not as relaxed as we normally do on a Friday night when we normally record.
Yeah, definitely.
You're probably feeling those Wednesday vibes.
Well, I don't know. Like, I at least work with some fun people. So, actually, a fun topic came up yesterday when I was chatting with my boss, Rachel. Have you ever... Okay, if I say the word Friday, what color is Friday?
Like, to me, it's like a TGIF, like 80s, like pink and turquoise and like just fun, like, yeah, it's Friday.
Okay.
Are you just thinking like one color?
Well, you see, like in my mind, Friday doesn't really have a color. It's more just like an idea or like a picture I see. Okay. But we were just kind of talking about like, you know, metacognition and just thinking about your thinking and how weird your brain can just, your brain's just a crazy place.
It is.
But there's this thing called synesthesia, and it's where you mix your senses. So it's defined as when your brain routes sensory information through multiple unrelated senses, causing you to experience more than one sense simultaneously. So some examples include tasting words or linking colors to like numbers and letters, which I completely don't do, so therefore I do not think I have synesthesia. But apparently, if you ask someone what color is like a month or a number or a day of the week, and if they have a really strong opinion about it, they might see things this way or experience things this way, multiple sensory.
That's interesting. Because I feel like Monday is just gray. Like, ooh.
That's what I thought too, but I also like, I don't picture like the word Monday in my mind. It's more just like an image of like, I don't know.
I think about Garfield and like, you know, like how you have Garfield like Mondays. Like, that's how I see Monday. But again, my brain is like Pee-wee's Playhouse, as you've said on a previous episode. So I may not be the best person to ask that question, or I might be a fantastic person to ask that question to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different types of synesthesia. So it's like people who see color when they listen to music. It's kind of like in like a random mix of the sensations. One of the weirder ones is, for instance, if you're like across the street from two people and you see them hug, you feel the hug. Like some people feel the things they're also seeing.
Is that also then like borderline of like being like like when someone says they're an empath? Would you say like they feel that emotion, or like if you walk into a room and I can tell them fighting, like I feel like.
Yeah, which I think is curious, right? Because that's kind of where I was going with it. Because I mean, you know, a lot of people can taste words like as well. Like it elicits a certain taste response. So it's just like this, for some reason, this other sense outside of what that word should be, or you would think would be affiliated. Like you have these other senses coming in too. And I don't know, it just never occurred to me that people think that way, and everybody's experience is so vastly different, and even just numbers and letters and words, like literally that you're reading day to day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that was kind of cool too, because I was like, huh, the feeling so strongly what you're seeing, like that sounds like empath kind of behavior. So I don't know. Maybe synesthesia is a nice scientific explanation for empathic senses, but
I've never heard of that word until today. Synesthesia. So that's pretty interesting. I bet
yeah,
there's a lot of research and stuff being done on that.
it
Maybe.
sounds like such a social, well, probably cognitive psychology kind of thing. I'm sure
Really neat.
with like all the technology and neuroscience kind of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, for sure. That's really interesting, Adele. Thanks for sharing that. I feel like I just finished listening to a book called Gutsy Women. It's by Hillary and Chelsea Clinton, and it was so neat because they were just talking about like women who have just done really amazing things. And Venus, they talked about Venus Williams, the super amazing tennis player. And she was talking about how they asked her, they're like, what is like one of the, or she has been asked what's her greatest thing, and she said it's being a big sister. And I'm like, me too. And so I feel like she said that she feels like her younger sister has made her a better athlete, and that's how I feel about you. Like I feel like you make me smarter. Like I always learn a new word or learn something different. And so thank you for that. That was cool.
You're welcome. Thank you. Well, we'll thank Rachel, actually, because
Thanks,
she was the one
Rachel.
that told me about it.
Thanks, Rachel.
We'll just keep passing it on. Pay it forward.
Well, do
Go
you want me to
backwards.
tell you about some events? You want to tell me what color you see when I say paranormal events? What kind of senses does that
Okay,
bring?
sure. It's all black, but in a great
Well,
way.
listen here, Brood. We've got some stuff coming up. September the 22nd through the 24th in Orlando, we have Crime Con. So get out your inner JB Fletcher or favorite detective, crime detective. Because if you're a crime junkie, it sounds like quite a fun event for you. Same weekend, September 22nd through the 23rd, and Houghton Lake, Michigan, we have the Michigan UFO Contact. You get it? CON dash tact. I thought that was really cute play on words. And then September 23rd through the 24th in East Moline, Illinois, we have the Midwest Monster Fest. So those all sound quite fun.
Those sound really fun.
So if you're in the area, check it out.
For sure.
Well, you want me just to get on with the story?
First, let's see what the astrological forecast has in store. So, this week's forecast is compliments of stylecaster.com. And this is your astrological forecast for the week of September 17th through September 23rd. So, Venus and Mercury retrograde are both over. Things are finally feeling less complicated now as well. September 17th, Jupiter enters Taurus. So, yes, absolutely indulge if you feel like you want to, but just keep in mind that you can do it a little too much. So, maybe just don't overdo it, but definitely enjoy yourself. You've earned it after these retrogrades. And then September 19th, the Sun opposes Neptune. So at this time, goals might seem a little foggy, but be patient and remember it's about the journey, not the destination. This will not only reduce frustration, but will better align you with your true purpose. And then September 21st, Virgo Sun forms a trine with Pluto. So you'll, I quote, be able to use your inner darkness as motivation, which I thought sounded initially a lot more darker than it is. This is actually very uplifting. Really just think about it as the worst has already happened to you. Like, you've already overcome some really tough things in life. And just let that be a reminder of how resilient and badass you are. You can do it. Just remember that, even though you get down, you never stay down. And you've lifted yourself up before, and you'll do it again, time and time again. So, Actually, a pretty optimistic forecast, finally taking us into fall. I was perusing paranormal news, as I do
Mhm.
sometimes. Um, and while this article, I think it was from 2018, which has been a few years, it's still really cool and relevant. And what's really odd is I just stumbled upon this 2 days before her birthday,
Oh, okay.
the late Amy Winehouse.
Oh, I loved Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, so in independent.co.uk, I think that's just like some sort of publication. I can't really tell if it's
Mhm.
news or more like entertainment news. So
Right.
take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, um, they have reported that Amy Winehouse's father claims he makes regular contact with her spirit.
Really? Do
Yeah.
tell.
So I'll just read it aloud as they wrote it so well. So Amy Winehouse's father, Mitch, has allegedly been visited by her spirit since she passed. The
Oh.
soul singer passed away in 2011 from alcohol poisoning at the height of her career. And 7 years later, in 2018, Mitch claims he witnessed her presence through a series of strange happenings.
Mm.
So, in an interview with The Sun, Mitch shared his experiences. Quote, we do have our moments, particularly on her birthday. Oh, sorry,
Oh,
September 14th. It's tomorrow.
it's tomorrow. Yeah, which is
Um,
also, yeah, that's pretty exciting.
yeah, it's we do have our moments, particularly on her birthday, September 14th. It's hard, he said. After 3 years, I was thinking maybe that one day she will come back in some shape or form, and she does come back. Not physically, but spiritually, all the time. Mitch implies that she's around often. There are lots of strange happenings. He claims her spirit comes and sits at the end of my bed. She just sits there and it looks just like her with her beautiful face. And she looks at me. I say to her, are you all right? Because I get nervous with her being there. Mitch doesn't seem to be afraid of her presence. Quote, it is comforting in a way to know she is here and around me. Uh, Mitch also explained how he believes he was visited by her spirit through a blackbird that looked like one of her tattoos.
Ooh.
Okay, so the week after she died, I was at my sister's house and she heard this thud, and a blackbird that looked identical to Amy's tattoo flew into the glass. We went and picked it up and put it up on the perch. It happened at night when birds don't fly, but it came back and sat on my foot. Um,
And birds usually don't do that.
Yeah, Mitch added, and then we put it back again, and it came and sat in the middle of us and sang. So this bird, they keep putting it back on the perch, and it keeps coming to them. Um, I do now see blackbirds all the time, and you think, oh, it's only a blackbird, but it's her. I'm sure of it. Of the supernatural situations, Mitch confessed there are so many things that happen to me that I cannot explain. I think that was it. So the weird blackbird
So
encounter.
sweet though, like given that sign, that's really that's really sad and really sweet at the same time.
Yeah,
She
so
was definitely gone too soon. I love her music and her style. I thought she was just a really cool person. And I just love that, there are those signs in the afterlife. Hopefully that's helped Mitch to, kind of pick up the pieces a little bit.
yeah. So I don't know, guys. If it's paranormal or not, it's still just kind of odd. I guess
It is.
if it comforts anybody in any way, I say what harm? What harm is
Absolutely.
believing? If that
Exactly.
makes you feel better.
I agree. What odd behavior for a bird.
Yeah,
Like,
but yeah, I thought that was kind of weird finding that article so close to her birthday
right.
from years ago, and then also it was about a ghost, as is
Love
the
it.
story today.
Yeah, that was a great segue, Adele. So you remember that I picked a ghost story, or I guess the wheel picked a ghost story for me, as you would say.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't ever do this. This is the first time I'm doing this. But before I start the story, I do want to give a content warning. This is a very dark, true story, and we're going to talk a lot about suicide. So if that is something, if that is a trigger for you, skip this episode completely because we're going to talk about that a lot. Um, And I did just want to mention, if you or someone you love is, suffering, having suicidal thoughts, you can dial 988 now on your phone, and it's a suicide support line that's available 24/7. So I think you can text it too. So just wanted to get that out there before starting our very, very dark story today. Too bad you don't drink beer anymore, Adele. I've got my ginger beer because it's a weeknight, because we're going to talk about the Lemp Mansion and Brewery. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
So here, I've got my ginger beer. So I'll be drinking my ginger beer.
I'll just stick to my water, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I want to first thank my sources for the information. Thank you to the takeout.com, Legends of America, the Lemp Mansion. They actually have a website. I'm going to reference that in just a little bit. And there's a lot of really good YouTube footage about this too. I listened to the Grave Talks, which is actually a podcast, but I listened to the YouTube version of it. So it was really cool. And so let's get started, okay, with the story here. So we are in St. Louis, 1838. All right. And we have Johann Adam Lemp, who arrives from Germany to seek fortune as a grocer and a brewer. So according to St. Louis Magazine, Lemp had learned the art of brewing lager from his father in Germany, and he really wanted to open up a brewery in the United States in the 1840s and bring German lager to America, because that hadn't been done at this time yet.
We appreciate his contributions.
Yeah, we appreciate your contributions. So this is basically the American dream, right? Like, he comes from Germany. He wants to start this grocery business, but then the brewery kind of takes off, so he can close that grocery business. And this ends up being basically the biggest brewery at this time right now. So he basically, this is just, I like to give you trivia fun facts. So apparently John Wagner is credited with bringing the first lager yeast to the States, but Johann Lemp may have actually smuggled in his own yeast a few years earlier. So even though he doesn't get the credit for it, some believe he was the actual person that brought that yeast from Germany to America to make a German lager. So so the brewery obviously was a hit. No one had experienced beer like that before. And so hence a dynasty begins, right? So Johann passes the brewery operation on to his son, William, who succeeded his father. And he was the head of he taught him how to brew this beer. So he's taken on the family brewery. And so by 1870, Lemp was the largest brewery in St. Louis. And they basically, all of a sudden, this family of immigrants is now like Midwest elite, right? So there is just like catapulted them into this like social life. And just another fun fact for you to tell you like how big this family is. In 1897, the Lemp family married off one of their daughters, Hilda, to Gustav Pabst of Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. So
I was about to say, where's Pabst? Because there's also like Pabst Mansion up in Wisconsin.
Yep. So they marry one of their daughters, like two beer families coming together. And so things are going phenomenal. They're rich, they're living the life, and then shit hits the fan. So
prohibition. No, just kidding.
Dun, dun, dun. So in 1901, Frederick Williams. So this is Johann's grandson. Okay. So Frederick is said to have been the favorite son here of William, and he died of heart failure at 28. Unexpected, just really horrible thing. Now, I did hear another report. Like from my research, I said heart failure, but I did hear another report that they thought it might be consumption. So in any event, he dies tragically in 1901. So William Sr., that's his dad, was so distraught that he shot himself in the head in the bedroom in the family mansion. So that's suicide number one. that happens.
Okay.
So after that happened, the family kind of battles like whispers and like, rumors going on about divorce and violence and get this illicit cockfighting. So just, they start making rumors about like, this family isn't
Illicit.
all they're cracked up to be. I know it's just illicit cockfighting.
Okay.
But yeah. So if that's not bad enough, in 1919, Prohibition closed down the brewery permanently. And so shortly after 1920, William's glamorous youngest daughter, Elsa, who this is so sad. So Elsa is one of his like socialite daughters, and she marries this guy that just wants that fortune, right? Like he is known to have basically ran around on her, like to her face. He didn't care about her, like he just wanted that money. And so they get divorced, and then apparently they get remarried. And then a few days when they're back from their honeymoon, she shoots herself in the chest.
No.
Now,
okay.
Some people say that it was a murder because guess who inherited all of her wealth? The husband, and then he takes off and leaves. So some speculate that hers was not a suicide, that it was a murder. Others say that she was just so heartbroken that it was a suicide. So in any event, this did not happen in the mansion. Okay, so this did not happen in the mansion, but just a tragedy in that line. And then in 1922, Lemp Brewery was sold at an auction, and it's just, like everything they've worked hard for, like prohibition, like suicides, possible murder, and then they lose their business, right? So it's like a real kick in the pants. And so the family's assets were liquidated, so they were still able to have enough money to live in the mansion. But then shortly after the sale of the brewery, William Lemp Jr., who's another heir, he was so depressed that he shot himself in the home. So that's suicide number 2.
Okay.
And then in 1949, the last brother, Charles Lemp, also committed suicide in the bedroom after killing his dog in the basement first.
Oh, geez.
So these are 3 really just not good things. Charles was the only one in the family to leave a suicide note, and it just said, "Blame it on no one but me." So kind of creepy, So we just have a lot of dark things. Now, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit. There's also tunnels here. Like there's a tunnel from the mansion that runs through the brewery that they were said to have kept, like, that would help keep the beer cold and whatnot during that time. And there are also rumors of like wild parties and prostitution and just like all kinds of debauchery happening in that and down there. So Charles was the last living relative. He commits suicide. And so then after his death, the mansion gets sold off and turned into a boarding house, which we kind of see a lot in that era, right? Because, times are kind of changing. A lot of the wealth has been redistributed. And so not only did the mansion turn into a boarding house, like the whole neighborhood just started to deteriorate. And this is when the first haunted tales begin. So residents of the boarding house complained of knocks and phantom footsteps being heard throughout the house. In 1975, the old mansion was finally saved by Dick Pointer. He and his family purchased the property and they began to renovate, and they wanted to turn it into a restaurant and an inn, which it still is today. But you could, and we're adding this to the list of places we're going, by the way. So the workers began the renovations, and they all complained of seeing apparitions and hearing strange sounds, and then their tools would just disappear completely. And they just felt like really creeped out, like they were being watched. And the workers got so freaked out that they left the job site and never came back. So they just left the job. They're like, nope, I'm out of here. Like,
come on.
This is
They
too
got
much
that
for me.
scared over a few missing things. Come on.
They got that scared. And so finally, they find a staff that can finish the renovations. The restaurant and the inn finally open, but staff members also reported seeing the same things as the workers that were doing the renovations did. They complained of apparitions, strange voices. They said glasses would literally lift off the bar and fly through the air by themselves. Doors are said to lock and unlock by themselves, and lights will turn on and off. And I think this is so fucking creepy. The piano at the bar would just start playing when no one was around.
Mm. Yeah, that's always pretty creepy.
That's a little creepy.
I mean, unless it's a mouse. Like running on, I don't know.
A little like, oh, don't worry, it's just a mouse.
It's like, oh, well, that doesn't make me feel any better.
That does not make me feel any better. It might actually make me feel worse. So let's talk. You want to meet the ghost? Let's
meet him.
So, believed to be haunted members of the Lemp family, there are 3 areas of this mansion that get a lot of activity. The first is the attic, then the stairway, and the basement. Now, a lot of people that work here call the basement the gates of hell.
Whoa.
So it's also important to note that the basement, when I talked about caves, that's also the entrance to the caves that run.
This sounds a lot like what Zach Bagans was kind of talking about with Bobby Mackey's basement.
Mm-hmm. Which we went there, and I think we didn't catch anything. Like the most that we think we caught was maybe upstairs in the bar, not really they call it, I think you referred to it as the portal of hell.
Yeah, something like, yeah.
Yeah. And so
hellhole, I don't know.
Something.
I think you said a portal to hell.
But it was kind of like, we had our equipment, we were ready, and we were like,
oh.
But we probably don't have the touch.
I don't know. I would just kind of like to see these supposed caves in this basement as well, as an expert now.
All right, so let's get started with the attic. And I also, if you did not heed my warning before, this is another, I don't even want to say this on this podcast because it's just really nasty. But all right, so the attic is said to be haunted by William Jr.'s illegitimate son. So he had Down syndrome, and they referred to him as the monkey-faced boy. And he was such an embarrassment to that family that they locked him in the attic his entire life.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's dark. Like,
so
this is such a dark, horrible story. And so that's what they called him, and he died in his 30s, but he never got to go out, or he was just locked up, and it just makes me want to vomit and cry. So they say that strange things are often witnessed there. They say the face of the sweet boy is seen peeking out of the small windows of the mansion, and they have a resident psychic there, which we're going to talk about her. She's amazing. And other investigators have left little toys for the boy, like in the middle of the room, and then they'll draw a circle around the toy, and the toys are always moved and to completely different parts of the room or the house. And so yeah, that whole story just bothers me.
So did he die up there? Like in that room?
And apparently I think he was like buried in an unmarked grave.
Jeez.
On the property. Like he was just I mean, I think, he had the stigma because he was illegitimate, number one, but then number two, having Downs, I just yeah. Not really.
It's like, I even question if he really did have Downs at that time. It's like he could have had fetal alcohol syndrome.
Oh yeah.
It's like all their fault or something,
That's exactly right. But nonetheless, this little boy, his name is Zeke. Such a sweet name. But Zeke is very active here. And then the downstairs women's bathroom. Okay, this used to be William Jr.'s personal domain. Okay, and he had, just a fun fact, just to show how much money they had at one point, he had the first freestanding shower in St. Louis. So no one else had that before. So that's how wealthy they were. But many women have reported a creepy man peeking over the stall while they're using the bathroom.
I question if that's a actual living being.
Okay, well, here's a funny story for you. So one patron of the restaurant goes to the bathroom, right? And she sees William like looking over her stall. And so she gets pissed and runs to the bar, and there's two men sitting at the bar. And she said, I hope you got an eyeful. And the two men were like, I don't understand. She's like, you son of a bitch, like, you're spying on me in the bathroom. And they're like, what? And the bartender was like, they haven't left the bar. Like, they've been here the entire time.
Ew, what if it's a doppelganger and it like looked like one of those guys?
Right? And so so the womanizer William Jr. is still there being a predator to women even in the afterlife.
That's, I don't know. That, like, you know what? Why not? If you're a ghost, why not?
I mean, whatever,
I would imagine that would get pretty boring pretty fast, though.
I mean, maybe not. It's like, I do this every night.
Watch people pee every night before I go to bed.
I don't know.
Like,
or maybe he likes to watch to see like if they're gonna like go yell at somebody by mistake, like this lady did. And it's like,
yeah,
you imagine like you're sitting there, like this woman just comes and yells at you, and you're like,
yeah, like
about lady. Very awkward encounter with the living and the dead. So William Lemp Sr.'s room. Okay, so guests have reported hearing some running up the stairs and then like you're kicking in the door. And so when William killed himself, it is said that William Jr. ran up the stairs and kicked in his father's door because it was locked. So that they just kind of hear that like over and over again. A part-time tour guide there reported hearing sounds of horses outside the room of William Lemp Sr. And when they would look out the window, there was nothing there. And the area north of the mansion is now like a parking lot they use, but apparently it used to be used for tethering horses. So that's kind of crazy. So there is a resident psychic here, and she is amazing. Her name is Betsy Burnett Bellinger, and so she's a historian. She's also a psychic, and she believes that she's identified 9 spirits. So most of them are heirs to the Lemp family, but one of them, and I'm not going to go over all of them, but one of them is actually from the boarding house. It was just a little girl, which is also really sad. Her name is Elizabeth. And she died around the 1950s on the 3rd floor. And she said that there's nothing, like they covered up her death pretty much. She was assaulted and just she was only 7 or 8, and so her ghost is there. And she said that a lot of times you can feel little tiny fingers like on your hands or your arms. I'm just like,
that's pretty sad.
Yes. And of course there's a lady in white. Betsy says that she's from this area, and she just, she's always grown up hearing these stories about the Lemp mansion, and she said there were some ladies that remember, growing up in that area, and they said when they would walk by the mansion, there was always a lady in white that would look down, and they believed that could be Julia Lemp, which was William Jr.'s wife. So her appearance is seen like from the parking lot a lot, just like peeking out the windows. A lot of people have seen that. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. So let's talk about the Lemp Mansion today. So the Lemp Mansion, they say, is like one of the top 10 most haunted places in the United States. It is still a restaurant and an inn, and you can go book accommodations. They have ghost tours. Betsy does those. She's a historian, paranormal expert, and she also does a dark room session, which sounds really amazing. So she'll attempt to make psychic communication in the dark room, and that's where somebody felt Elizabeth's little tiny fingers touching them. So yeah, now if that's not cool enough for you, Adele, you might be like, well, what's up with the brewery? Well, it's actually a haunted house now, like a legit haunted house, like a Scare Winds haunted house.
Like all year round?
I think so, yeah. And you can go and check it out. It's pretty amazing. It's put on by a St. Louis-based Halloween production company, and they list this warning to visitors. I'm just going to read it directly. Yes, readers, someone has taken this very old, very stately property and transformed it with the state-of-the-art animatronic sets, props, sound effects, highlighting the brewery's old rusty pipes and worn down machines from a time long ago. There's nothing creepier than worn down brewing equipment. The 20,000 square foot attraction also features tens of thousands of dollars worth of monsters, dead zombies, gangsters, a massive animated alligator, creepy rats, bats, and a long lost brewery workers of the dead.
Well, now I know what I want to do for my 40th birthday.
So we could stay at the mansion and then take the tunnel to the haunted house.
And it's just right there in St. Louis.
We're going to St. Louis for your birthday. That is what we're doing. Like, how cool.
Yep.
Now, you know it's really, really haunted because our friends, the Ghost Adventures, have been there. And also so many, like pretty much everybody has been here. So Betsy is like, she's been on so many shows about this place that like she said people recognize her now just because she's been on so many like ghost shows and stuff. And I do on our show notes, I have the link to the haunted house, and I also have the link to the mansion. So if you wanted to book a stay or to either one of those, the link's in the show notes. I think it sounds like I want to go back to Salem, I want to go to Sleepy Hollow, and I want to go to the Lemp mansion plus the haunted house.
Oh yeah. The haunted house.
I think it's, and like if you go look on the website, like it's not just like a little like backyard haunted house. Like it's intense.
I wonder if the haunted house is haunted. How would you know?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. But and like they said, like it's so cool because you can experience like the haunted house, but then you can also go and do this like really intimate kind of tour with Betsy, where she's the historian. I mean, these 9 entities that she has identified kind of know her and are comfortable with her, and you get to have like this seance. Like, yes, and apparently the food is out of this world. Like the food looks amazing. They turned it into a really beautiful like bed and like inn, and so like the rooms are really nice. And I just think it sounds like we need to do that for your 40th birthday.
I am down. Sure. Yeah.
Like I think we should do it. And the mansion's really cool. Like I think it's very pretty. Like a lot of people that on YouTube like, oh, it looks creepy, but I'm like, I think it's really pretty.
Can you stay in William's room?
I bet we can. If we book now, I'm sure like we probably could.
I want to stay in William's
room. That's in the most haunted room. Betsy said that and she is so adorable. Like she has this cute little like St. Louis kind of accent, and she's just a freaking doll. If you get a chance to like YouTube her, I would love to do a tour with Betsy. But she talked about like when she was first there, they were doing a tour, and she was sleeping downstairs like on a cot because all the rooms were taken. And she got so scared. She's like, I had to like put the cover up over my face. Just because it was so scary in there.
Oh geez.
So I have never heard of the Lemp mansion. Obviously, when you think of St. Louis, like right now, like the biggest beer you think of is Anheuser-Busch, but Lemp had the potential and at one time made more money than Anheuser-Busch. So if they hadn't fallen on hard times, it's hard to say.
Kind of makes you wonder what's going to happen post this financial crisis.
Right.
Some of these top dogs might fall off. So watch those, second runners, third runners. They might
be a very big thing. Because this is such a this is just kind of one of those stories about the American dream and just how it turned into an absolute nightmare for this family.
The American scream.
Yes, the American scream. And there are so many stories too, like about, all the shenanigans they say that went on. I just kind of focused on the ghost of the home, but it's a very cool place. And I think it's a place, it's on my list. I think we should definitely do that for your big 4-0.
So as a part of the tour, do you get access to the attic and the basement?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I know they said at one point the attic, I think, was closed for like renovations or something, but I don't know how many years ago that's been. So it might be now. Well, I'm thinking if we're gonna book this far in advance, but these are our demands.
Yeah, like we're kind of a big deal.
We're kind of a big deal, but we need
And
to
we
find
want we want Bojangles catered. Forget your restaurant.
it's like I understand that you have really good food, but we would like to have Bojangles. And they're gonna probably gonna be like, what the hell is a Bojangles? What is happening?
Like, well, you don't even know what you are. Are you Midwest or South?
That's right. Have you been to St. Louis?
I had to go there in high school for
I was
like,
gonna say, I feel like you were there for a hot second.
yeah, just for a second. And it's not like I could go out and actually do anything. It was for school.
Yeah. It seems like a fun place. This
Yeah,
alone, I'm like, I would definitely go.
I think we went to a Cardinals game the year Mark McGuire was trying to like break the record, or maybe it was like shortly thereafter that he had like done the home run record. So
That's pretty funny. That kind of dates you a little bit, Adele.
I know. Most people were probably like, "Who the hell is Mark
Like,
McGuire?"
did she say Lizzie McGuire?
Mark McGrath. Oh wait, he's also old.
But no, I think we should definitely go. And do me a favor, like check out the link to the mansion and also to that haunted house because that haunted house looks scary as hell. Like it looks
Yeah.
really like intense. And it would be cool if you could go there to the haunted house like before they turn on everything and just walk it. Because I bet you that the brewery has got to be
Yeah.
really as well. So that is the story of the Lemp Mansion and Brewery. I know it wasn't super long, but I had never heard of them. And it's a story, man. It's a doozy.
Yeah. Actually, I think I went on a tour of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, but we couldn't drink anything at the end. We all got soda. But it was cool. You got to see all the Clydesdales, and they have like a little.
Oh, you did?
They have like a little. It's kind of like a zoo, but almost like a safari. It's like
what?
Yeah, like they
Doing
have like animals that you could like see and like go on a tour. I think they had like ostriches or something like that. Like almost like petting zoo kind of animals. Plus, like some where I was like, I don't know if we should be that close to these animals. I vaguely remember that. Vaguely remember that.
Crazy. All right, St. Louis, we're coming.
Yeah, St. Louis. I remember thinking it was a pretty cool city. I haven't been there as an adult. I have been to Springfield. I'm not sure how far away that is from St. Louis though, but that's a cute little town.
Yeah, this looks cool. I'm like looking at the brewery. It looks great.
Yeah, it was.
We would want our bud. We would want our bud in the rainbow, colors. So I'm just gonna squash that debate right there.
Oh, okay.
Support Dylan. So anyway, but yeah, we should totally go. I think that would be really fun. So, and if you've ever been there, Brood, tell us like the must-see things. Like if you've ever been to St. Louis, if you've been to the Lemp Mansion or Brewery, like tell us if you've had any ghostly experiences or if there's any other haunts around St. Louis we should check out.
Now I'm just thinking of it's Lemp.
Lemp, Lemp.
But just talking about Bojan, and I'm thinking of like Limp Biscuit.
You really got Bojangles on the brain today.
Yeah, I do.
You homesick?
Well, Amanda just made some pimento cheese biscuits.
Oh.
So yeah, biscuits are on the brain.
I always know when Adele's getting homesick when she's craving the Bojangles. She doesn't crave me. She craves the Bows. She's like, I do want a biscuit. Damn it. Biscuit and hush puppies.
Oof, yeah. They need to put a Bojangles right beside the cookout.
Well, it's not far.
And then you'll have to roll me out of South Carolina after that.
Like, Adele will be home soon. We gotta start rolling her now.
Just put me in a hot air balloon.
That would be very on point for Albuquerque.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny. Well, I hope you enjoy the story. It's a dark one. It's a very very dark story. But definitely check out the mansion, check out the haunted house. I know I'm going to. It's on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's like a unique point of difference. Like a lot of places you can go and do tours with psychics, but they don't have freaking like haunted house with like animatronic alligators and crap.
They
Yes, that's
they really tapped.
superior.
I feel like this is a perfect situation where they really tapped into the market there. It's like,
You know what that is? That is an insight.
yeah, it is.
That
I
is
mean,
knowing your target audience.
they absolutely do. And I'm like, wow. It's like if you're gonna build a haunted house that's, got tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff in it,
Yeah.
yeah, make it at the Lemp Brewery right beside the mansion. That's genius.
They
Because
didn't
most people that
wait.
go there are probably into the paranormal. So like that's their people.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
smart.
And they like didn't wait to be asked to do it. They were like, "We're gonna do
We're doing
it,"
it.
and then you're gonna realize it's what you always wanted,
Exactly.
and
It's
it
like we're
is.
doing it. Well, and I just wonder if it was, and I don't know this for a fact, but you just kind of wonder if it was just kind of sitting there abandoned anyway for years and years, like so many places that go into ruin are. So like, why not put in a haunted house? That's what I'm gonna start doing around here.
They
If I see
probably
an
got.
abandoned building, I'm like, haunted house. I'm in. Let's go.
And Steven likes collecting so much stuff. Be like, all right, along with cars, can you look for like old animatronics? And like, I don't know,
Like, and he's really gotten
roller
into
coasters.
auctions. He's really gotten into auctions. I mean, heck, if Carowinds is out there doing roller coasters, why can't I?
Yeah, their shit's crap. And they don't
It's
give a
fine.
fuck.
And I'm into safety, so you would
We're just
probably
gonna
be
do bumper cars. Come on,
you'd
it'll
be
be fine.
safer in my haunted house ride for sure.
Yeah,
I don't play with safety, so you'd be
yeah,
safe.
we can do it. It'll happen.
Man, I just feel like,
Stormy
we've
Willow
got,
World.
listen here, I feel like we've got the podcast, right? And we're going to do Stormy Willow Productions. Now we're going to do Stormy Willow Amusement,
Mhm.
Haunted Amusement Park. Coming to a town near you. Coming to an abandoned building near you.
Will be a pop up instead of the county fair. It'll be the Stormy Willow Circus.
We're breaking it back, guys.
We'll have one camel and some
I'm
like
gonna get that camel
bumper
from there
boats
away. That's what I'm
and
gonna do.
bumper boats on a lake.
Going to so there's this
On.
place in Fort Mill, and it's called Narrowway Productions, and it's like this. It's this really big Christian production company, and they have like this camel just outside all the time, like in like this little area. I'm coming for him whenever we take our Stormy Willow Circus on the road. I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna give him a good life.
I bet they named him Judas and treat him horribly.
Probably.
That's why he's outside all the time.
But yeah, like these productions are
They're pretty intense.
They're pretty intense. They're pretty intense, but I don't appreciate how they treat their animals. So I'm gonna go on record and say it.
I'm gonna call it out right here, right now.
That's right. But yeah, I love it. I definitely would do a circus with you. I'm in.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, I believe, is the new moon. So we're just gonna have to manifest that shit.
Hell yeah.
Why stop at a podcast?
Stormy Willow coming to town. You'll get your tickets at school.
At the book fair.
Yes. And one coupon for Bo Biscuit.
Bojangles presents.
Oh god. That seems too on the nose.
Listen, I
Live at Cricket Arena. When we get healthy.
Listen.
The show's just getting shot out of cannons.
Listen, I couldn't wait to get my ticket, so I know what it says. I was like, we're going to the fair. I love a fair.
Oh, wait.
Finally, all my dreams. You know what? It may have taken 41 years.
You're afraid of carnies.
Listen, it may have taken 41 years to get here, but I'm here, guys. It's taken a while to realize my dream. Here it is.
I think your carny phobia is just like homophobic people, like because they're in the closet. So you're like an in the closet carny.
Probably because I'm jealous. I'm like, I know I could do that better.
You like their showmanship.
I really am into showmanship and all things I do. So I think maybe it's true. Maybe I have an issue with carnies because I want to be one.
That's right.
now I may get that chance.
So you consider that. Consider that under this new moon.
I will.
Let's see what the hell we're talking about next week.
Yeah, let's
spin the wheel.
Dale's like really excited. Can't see the wheel. I'm just watching your face.
Oh, you can't see the wheel?
No, I'm just watching you spin the wheel. But go ahead, you landed on. I just watched. I'm like,
I thought I told it to share. Oh, my bad. Here you go. Well, it landed on cryptid. I can do it again. So you
no, keep cryptid. I know how much you love cryptid. Fun. Keep the cryptid.
Well, I just did a cryptid. Or alien.
To your favorites.
Well, I'll just pick which one. Those two I want. Okay, let me stop.
It was just so funny. I was watching your face, and I'm like, "What's?" I thought you were dreaming about the circus, the Stormy Willow Circus.
I'm always dreaming about that.
Okay, now I can't see you.
You can't see me? Okay.
I can see you now. I can see you now. Well, I hope you enjoyed our shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. I sure did. I was entertained.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. It was a really good story. So as we say here on the podcast, stay safe out there, friends.
Stay curious.
Never trust the living.
Barney's.
Or maybe William Jr. if you're in the ladies' bathroom at the Lemp Mansion.
Yeah.
Just don't use the bathroom there.
Just don't.
Just don't. Just hold it. Go use the bathroom at the haunted house.
Yeah. Seriously. Go use the bathroom in the pool.
Yeah. I'm not going to use the bathroom here.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you for listening.
Sorry. You froze that.
Oh.
I think my internet's going in and out.
Okay. Thank you for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.